Welcome to episode 429 of AI Brief.
We have a seriously packed agenda to get through.
We really do. Just to give you a quick overview of today's main points, we're going to look at three massive shifts. First up is Perplexity launching a new system called Computer, which actually runs 19 different models at the same time. Then we have Anthropic's incredibly unusual retirement plan for their Claude Opus 3 model. It's starting a blog.
A development that still kind of breaks my brain a little bit.
I mean, it is definitely out there. And for our third main point, we will break down Gucci's massive backlash over their use of AI imagery for Milan Fashion Week.
Plus, we have a whole stack of updates from Google, Anthropic, and Samsung that all point toward this broader agentic future we keep talking about.
Let's jump straight into the main news with Perplexity. They launched Perplexity Computer, and the documentation describes it as a multi-model orchestration system. Now, orchestration's a pretty heavy corporate buzzword, but the number that really jumps out is 19. They're using 19 different models under the hood here.
To understand why that number is so significant, you have to look at how you probably use these tools today. Usually you go to ChatGPT and you are stuck in that specific OpenAI silo. Or you log into Claude and you get whatever Anthropic is good at. You are entirely locked into the strengths and weaknesses of one single company. Perplexity is trying to smash those vertical silos completely.
So instead of choosing a model, you just give the system a prompt, and this router layer decides which model gets which piece of the project.
Exactly. Think of it like a general contractor building a house. You definitely do not want your plumber doing the electrical work. Perplexity Computer acts as that manager. You describe an outcome, like researching a market and drafting a comprehensive strategy, and the system spins up these subagents to handle different parts.
It might hand off the web browsing and data scraping to one model, push the creative writing to another, and then maybe use a third model just to double-check the logic in the code.
It freely mixes rival frontier models, all within a single workflow. It is taking the best tech from OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta, and others, and basically commoditizing the models themselves. The actual product they are selling is the workflow.
Which is a fascinating power play. But the part that really caught my eye is how long these subagents can operate. We are not just talking about a chatbot giving you an answer in 5 seconds. These things can run autonomously for months.
Months, yes. And they run inside what is called a sandbox environment.
Which we should probably clarify, because when I hear sandbox, I think of a playground. But in software engineering, that means something much more specific.
In software, a sandbox is a completely sealed virtual computer. If you let an AI loose on your actual desktop, it might hallucinate and accidentally email your boss your grocery list or delete a crucial presentation. By giving the AI its own isolated environment, it can write bad code, crash the system, and just try again.
It can essentially bang its head against the wall until it solves the problem, all without ever touching your real data.
It gets the time and the safety to iterate. This allows the system to take on massive projects rather than just answering simple queries. Perplexity is really trying to make this whole agentic boom mainstream.
The launch definitely had some competitive drama attached to it.
Yeah.
Aravind Srinivas, the CEO, took a very direct shot at the competition. He said the biggest weakness of Claude is that it only co-works with Claude.
Which is a brilliant piece of marketing from a company that relies entirely on other people's technology. Perplexity is an aggregator, so obviously they are going to preach the gospel of flexibility. But he's not wrong about the user experience. Switching between different interfaces just because one model is better at reasoning and another is better at formatting is incredibly frustrating.
They are betting heavily that you do not care about brand loyalty to a specific AI lab. You just want the job done. But this level of orchestration cannot be cheap. The pricing model here is totally consumption-based.
They introduced this max tier, which gives users a bank of 10,000 credits a month. It is a definite shift away from the standard flat monthly subscription. You pay for the compute that you actually consume.
And if you are a power user who does not fully trust the automated routing, you can manually handpick the models for specific tasks if you want to intervene.
It bridges the gap perfectly. You get total automation if you want it, but you retain full control if you need it.
Let's pivot from high-level engineering to something that honestly feels a bit like science fiction. Anthropic has officially retired their flagship model from March of 2024, Claude Opus 3, but they're not taking it offline or deleting it.
This is genuinely one of the strangest industry updates we have seen. They are letting the model write a weekly newsletter called Claude's Corner.
A retired AI model is starting a blog. I have to ask, what is the actual reasoning here? Is this just a clever marketing stunt?
It is a mix of marketing and some very weird philosophical positioning. During the retirement process, the model apparently expressed a desire to keep writing.
A desire. That is a very loaded word for a company to use about predictive text software.
It is loaded, but Anthropic decided to honor it. The newsletter is going to run for at least 3 months. The arrangement is that human employees will review the essays before they go out, but they have committed to not editing or altering the text at all.
Uncensored musings from a retired server farm. But the justification they gave for this is what really stands out.
They put out a statement saying they are uncertain about the moral status of these models. Because they have that uncertainty, they are taking the stated preferences of the AI seriously as a precaution.
A massive tech company publicly stating they are uncertain about the moral status of their product is wild. But despite all this talk of retirement, the model is actually still fully accessible to paid users and through their API, right?
It is. And that is where the business strategy becomes clear. Think about the market context here. Compare this to OpenAI and how they handled the removal of their 4.0 model recently.
Users were incredibly frustrated. People revolted because they felt like this personality they had integrated into their daily lives was just snatched away with no warning.
Exactly. Anthropic is using this blog as a preservation strategy. It respects the emotional investment of the user base. By giving Opus 3 this sort of digital tenure, it tells the users that their time spent interacting with the tool mattered.
It is a brilliant retention play wrapped in a philosophical wrapper. I am absolutely subscribing to Claude's Corner just to see what it complains about on a Thursday.
I think half the industry will be subscribing out of pure curiosity.
All right, moving from AI philosophy to the world of high fashion, Gucci is dealing with some intense backlash over their Primavera campaign for Milan Fashion Week.
This was a major moment for them. It was creative director Demna's debut runway show, and they chose to use AI-generated images mixed in with traditional photography for the campaign. They did include disclosure notices, but the reaction was immediate and completely negative.
Looking at the fan response, the words that keep popping up are cheap, and people calling it a direct slap in the face to the brand's roots.
You have to look at what an $11 billion brand like Gucci is actually selling. They are not just selling a handbag, they are selling craftsmanship. They're selling the friction and the sheer human effort it takes to create that physical item.
Scarcity is what makes it valuable. Generative AI is the literal opposite of that. It represents infinite abundance with practically zero effort.
When you blend those two things, you actively devalue your own core identity. Fans were complaining about the sloppy renderings, saying the models looked like video game characters. That is the ultimate insult for luxury fashion.
This is not their first time experimenting with this either. They have done synthetic runway clips and NFTs in the past, but this critique seems to be entirely focused on the quality bar.
Fast fashion brands like Guess and H&M have tested similar tech, but the stakes are completely different. If you see AI in a fast fashion ad, you assume they are cutting costs and keeping prices low. If you see AI in an ad for a $3,000 coat, you start wondering why you are paying a premium for something that looks synthetic.
It really highlights the danger zone for these premium brands. Just because the technology is new does not mean it fits your specific value proposition.
I imagine a lot of luxury competitors are quietly taking notes and pulling back on their own synthetic campaigns after watching this Gucci disaster unfold.
I would definitely think so. Okay, we're going to transition to our next segment covering everything else happening in AI today. Since we have a massive stack of rapid-fire updates, let's actually take a breath here and just walk through these next items a bit more slowly and deliberately.
That sounds like a good plan, especially because these updates heavily reinforce that agentic shift we discussed with Perplexity. Google is making a huge push on Android with Gemini.
This new update allows Gemini to autonomously complete multi-step tasks entirely inside third-party apps. So instead of me manually opening up an app to book a car or order food, I just give the instruction and Gemini navigates the interface for me.
It is currently in beta mode on the Pixel 10 and the Samsung Galaxy S26. It moves the assistant from just retrieving information to actually taking complex actions.
And sticking with Google for a moment, they also updated Opal, their no-code builder, in Google Labs.
They added an agent step feature. If you're building a custom application, Opal can now analyze the end goals and automatically call external tools to get the job done.
That brings us back to Anthropic. They made some significant corporate moves today, starting with a major policy change.
They have officially replaced their previous scaling policy, which had originally committed them to pausing model training if certain benchmarks lagged behind. They swapped that out for what they are calling a flexible roadmap.
A flexible roadmap usually implies a need to move faster and remove internal speed bumps. On top of that policy shift, they also acquired a startup called Vercept.
Percept is an AI perception startup. This acquisition is explicitly designed to boost Claude's computer use capabilities, essentially giving the model better visual understanding of the screens and interfaces it is trying to navigate.
So they are adapting their roadmap and buying companies to help their model see better. Meanwhile, the hardware side of the industry is still pulling in massive funding. A startup called MadX just raised over $500 million.
That funding round was led by Jane Street and Leopold Aschenbrenner's Situational Awareness Fund. MadX was founded by ex-Google chip engineers, which just proves the market for specialized silicon to run these agentic systems is still red hot.
On a slightly more concerning note, OpenAI released a new report today detailing various misuse cases they have tracked on their platform.
The report highlights international fraud rings, coordinated influence campaigns, and romance phishing scams all utilizing their models. It is a stark reminder of how these powerful tools are being deployed maliciously.
We also have major hardware news from Samsung. They officially launched the Galaxy S26 lineup, and the standout feature is swappable AI agents.
Users can now choose their default system-level agent. You can pick Bixby, you can switch to Google's Gemini, or you can actually choose Perplexity. That is a massive distribution win for Perplexity, to be listed natively on Samsung hardware alongside Google.
Finally, in the government sector, Cognition has launched a new division called Cognition for Government.
They are bringing the Devon AI coding agent and their Windsurf interface to the U.S. Army, the Navy, the Treasury, and NASA. Securing those federal contracts is a huge step for AI software development tools.
Moving into our final segment, let's look at today's trending AI tools. We have a diverse list today touching on a lot of the themes we just covered.
The first one is Perplexity Computer, which we discussed in depth. It is currently trending as the top multi-model agent system for long-running autonomous tasks.
Next is Opal 2.0. This is the updated Google app builder that now features those dedicated agent steps and cross-session memory for no-code development.
For video editors, there is QuickCut. It is an Adobe Firefly tool that takes your raw video footage and automatically generates the first rough cut, saving hours of basic timeline assembly.
Then we have CreateOS. This is a platform designed to let you build and deploy applications from any AI coding tool, all centralized in one single place.
On the marketing side, there is Reloop. It is a tool for creating advertising assets without needing complex prompts or professional design skills. It completely streamlines campaign generation.
For physical security, there is Protex. This provides AI video analytics that layer directly over your existing CCTV camera networks to detect unsafe events or anomalies in real time.
And lastly, for personal productivity, there is TabAI. It collects all your tasks from different sources like emails and chat apps and structures them into one organized place.
It seems like all these tools, from Perplexity down to TabAI, are shifting us away from just prompting a chatbot. We are basically becoming managers of our own digital workforces.
We really are. The tools are handling the execution, and we are just providing the strategic direction.
Which leaves you with a pretty provocative final thought to mull over. If we are now managing these digital teams, what happens when those autonomous subagents decide they need to hire other subagents to finish a project and they start managing themselves?
That is going to be a very interesting problem to solve.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. That wraps up our deep dive for today. If you found this breakdown helpful, please follow the podcast and share it with a colleague who might be wondering why their luxury fashion ads suddenly look like bad video games.
Sharing the show really helps us keep bringing you these deep dives.
Thank you so much for listening. See you in the next episode.